a bit of Amy Winehouse. One of the 6 artists that we learnt today is going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll be playing you a song by them very soon. The question now, though, what's it really like to be a teenage girl right now? A series of conversations with girls across the UK suggests many still see themselves through the lens of boys, shaping how they act, they speak, and even how much space they feel able to take up. Now, they also talk about pressure from social media and anxiety and growing up fast, but at the same time, they're ambitious and they're self-aware. So how do we support girls to make sure that they feel confident in who they are? Claire Clements is the director of Positive Pants CIC, which aims to help children and parents find their own well-being solutions through positive mindset. Good afternoon.
Hi there.
How are you, Claire? Are you well?
Very well, thank you. I've got my positive pants on. I'm,
Because
living by my own motto.
do you know, the funny thing is just feeling kind of positive genuinely can make a difference. But some people, understandably, really struggle to find that kind of positive angle on things, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we're all brought up in different ways. There's the whole nature-nurture debate. But, nobody feels positive all the time. And positive pants for me isn't about, that actually we're positive all the time. It's recognising when we're not early enough that we can make a choice of whether we sit in that or whether we do something about it to change it and change our mindset.
Now, from your experience, does this idea that girls see themselves through the lens of boys ring true? Is that something that you see happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work with children from age 6 and upwards, up to late teens and with adults, actually. And yeah, it's definitely an influencing factor. Even, in the primary school playground, you've got the young girls, who are talking about, boys in the playground and I've got a boyfriend. And obviously it doesn't mean the same as what it does as we grow older, but we're certainly encouraged that our society sort of leans that way, that we should be, replicating and learning what relationships look like. And often that does mean, as females, we do tend to people please a lot. There are different expectations and we sort of mould ourselves to kind of what society is expecting. And sadly, it hasn't really changed that much over the years.
No, and we're hearing that girls are saying they feel the pressure to kind of be quiet or to not to take up space. That's quite sad, isn't it?
It is sad, and a lot of the work I do with children is around them building their confidence and self-esteem. And for me, the reason I do that was that when I was a teenager, I did exactly that. I was the people pleaser. I was the, in inverted commas, the good girl that kind of, did what was expected, wanted to be a kind of high achiever, wanted that praise. And so what I did was fit into whatever group I was in. And, young girls now are doing exactly the same. And it's not just around boys. In their friendship groups, you don't want to stand out. You don't want to be the weird one or the unusual one. I personally celebrate that and encourage that. But, we are really programmed evolution-wise that we fit into a group because we're safe. We're not going to get rejected. We're not going to, not be part. We're not going to be safe anymore. It's that survival mode. So it's very much inbuilt. And as much as we can try and go against it, unfortunately, all the signals in our brain are telling us to fit in.
And I guess, for you, it must be great when you see those first signs of a new confidence or a renewed confidence or somebody starting to believe in themselves a little bit more and feel quite sort of proud about that and want to demonstrate that they're not going to sit back and not be noticed. If they have a voice, a thought, an opinion, they want other people to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really important thing. And, I haven't got it nailed completely. I have moments where I'm triggered and I, resort back to my old self, if you like. I've had to unlearn a lot of habits, which is why my passion is that children and girls, boys, everybody really recognises at an early age these signals and then puts an action into place or learns a tool or a technique that's specific to them. It's not the same as everyone else's. It's what works for them, and know that they can choose to use that for better. And I think for me, when I'm working with families in particular, I don't always see it in my hour session once a week. But when I get the feedback from the parents,
Right.
in between those sessions or afterwards, of them saying, actually, I've got my child back, because that is so powerful.
It's very rare these days, sadly, I think, that we have, or anybody can have a conversation around any subject like this without the kind of the effects of social media being kind of mentioned, because it does seem that it's as a kind of fully grown adult, you see social media and you can almost see through it and go, well, that's not real life, that is social media. I understand that. I'm old enough and wise enough to kind of know. But for kids, it must be quite tough from that aspect of feeling like you've got to constantly compete. Whereas when you get a little bit older, you kind of go, listen, I don't believe it anyway, to be perfectly honest. I think it's all for show.
Yeah, and it's catching ourselves, because even as adults, we still do it.
Yeah.
But we then have that rationale to go, hang on a moment. I think, the difficulty is that our brain believes whatever it sees. And so if we're kind of feeding ourselves, pictures of, these perfect lives, these people, out with their friends all of the time, having boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it might be, we kind of believe that that's the only truth. So it's learning those skills to just pause our thoughts and actually, just that one question of, is this true, for everybody? Is this real? Or, rather than what is someone else thinking of me, what am I thinking about me? Because, that deeper kind of reflection, it's something that we learn, but it's really invaluable to challenge what our brain is telling us.
Claire, where can we find out more about Positive Pants?
You can join us online. If you look on social media, Positive Pants Family, or the website positivepants.co.uk. I have free online sessions available once a month and in person in the Newark area as well. So, yeah, please come and join.
Thank you so much for your time today. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Have a great Tuesday.